All right, let us move to another fantastic game. The last 2 days of basketball, 3 days, have been super, super awesome. And we got game 7 between the Bucks and the Nets. And
We
a very surprising result based on the way the game was played.
we previewed this series saying this seems like it will be the best series of the second round. That game seven lived up to that.
Yeah, definitely disappointing before that game 7. Although game 5 was just awesome from Kevin Durant. Yeah, the series took a while to warm up, but once we got there, it was great. And the Bucks go to 7 guys basically in this game, and the Nets also go to 7 guys. Like it was just you tighten your lineup, you play your best guys. Let's see what happens. And Kevin Durant with just another unbelievable performance, 48, 9 and 6, and he was a centimeter away from hitting that game winning shot. Like that kind of is something that isn't talked about because of how awesome the shot was, and then him just not being able to hit any down the stretch in overtime. But he was an inch away from that being a 3-point fadeaway shot over Tucker to win that game. And wow, yeah, that was
Yeah.
a heck of a shot. It was a heck of a stretch. I had a ton of notes here where Drew Holiday ghosted for the first 45 minutes of the game, while Giannis had a fantastic first 45. And then, of course, we talk about Giannis needing someone to play in those last 3 minutes for him because it's just not where he's going to be proficient. And Drew Holiday had some big, big shots down the stretch. He finally showed up. Um, and then what happened was Brooke Lopez has an absolute brain fart on an inbounds play with like 11 seconds left. I don't know. You have to know the time on an inbound. And he gets it. He tries throwing it to Middleton, but it's shot clock violation. And only 2 seconds left. Dude, you're 7 foot 18 and a half. Like, just throw up a shot. You can't get blocked. It's so brutal. And that's what leads the Nets getting that final possession. Kevin Durant with the unbelievable shot sends the game to overtime. And then in overtime, it was really
Bit
brutal
ugly.
for the first 3.5 minutes. The Bucks did not score. It was Giannis struggling. He got stripped by Harden a couple times in the post. Uh, Middleton bricking a shot, Holiday bricking a shot. Uh, it really, really struggling, but they were getting bailed out because James Harden in the game, but he wasn't looking to score. And he, of course, with the hamstring injury, his shooting was terrible, no lift. He had that crazy bank three late in the game that was unbelievable. I thought that game was over at that point, but late in this game, the Bucks kind of switch it, or they stay home on the screener and force Harden to try and create his own shot, and he couldn't do it. So then the Nets go back to KD, and by that point, KD like he had lost all the legs. He had nothing left in the tank, and it's hard to blame him. Like it was a very taxing series playing so many minutes, especially game 5 and game 7. We had mutual foul outs between Blake Griffin and PJ Tucker, the two guys being used on your opponent's best player. And that definitely had an effect both ways. They used up all 6 fouls, right? You gotta get your money's worth if you're in that game. Um, and I was surprised that Giannis was not defending Kevin for that final possession, but Middleton gets in his airspace. Lopez with a huge block down the stretch as well on the drive by Kevin Durant. And then Middleton with a clutch bucket to put the Bucks up to. You think, oh God, Kevin Durant's going to send it to overtime again. But he airballs the shot. It was great defense in the end, and he just didn't have enough lift. And the Bucks, man, I don't know. This is huge for them because the Nets really exposed a lot of their weaknesses as a team, but they got through it. And now against a team like Philadelphia, they may match up a little bit better because of the fact that um, I don't know if the Sixers necessarily have a guy to defend Giannis. They might go Embiid, but Simmons is a little bit too small for Giannis. He's a great defender, but that'll probably be the matchup there. And then if you're the Sixers, like you would have rather faced the Nets because if you're Embiid, you can just dominate people. I'm talking as if the Sixers are already winning, by the way, which is ridiculous for me, but we're just going to assume that for now. And if now the Bucks have a center in Brook Lopez who could be a big body there to at least disrupt it. I don't know. It's fascinating. I did not think the Bucks were going to win in that slow, grindy pace down in the end, but they managed to somehow pull it out. And this is this is the biggest opportunity for them that they're going to get because next year, LA Lakers are going to be back. Brooklyn Nets are going to be fully healthy. I think I picked the Nets next year to win the title already with a healthy Kyrie, James Harden, Kevin Durant. That team is a nightmare because we just saw with just KD basically and 25% of James Harden, they took the Milwaukee Bucks to game 7. So Brooklyn early favorites for next season's title. Sorry, I rambled for like 5 minutes straight on this game because I just had so much to talk about. Max, I don't know if you have anything left to add.
Yeah, I guess ultimately it came down to the Bucks defense being able to finally stop Kevin Durant, which maybe it's more through attrition than anything else. I agree with you that it's absolutely ludicrous that Giannis Antetokounmpo, all defensive team, former defensive player of the year winner, all two-time MVP. I'm sure he's going to be, if not already, like first team NBA guy who put up 40 point plus 40-ish points in game 7, and he's nowhere to be seen in the last 2 minutes of overtime. They're not trying to run him offensively and they're not using him defensively. They won the game, so that's just hard to wrap your head around. And yeah, if it was any other year, I'd roll my eyes a little at the statement of fully healthy Nets team because with Kyrie, we've seen him just not available for playoffs so many times. With Durant, you don't really know how next season is going to go. But this entire NBA season has just been a contest of personal health and how well you can take care of your body and stay game ready. So I don't want to extrapolate too much from it in terms of next season once they've had a full off season and once they're playing at a more spaced out schedule.